There are no words that can tell the hidden spirit of the wilderness, that can reveal its mystery, its melancholy, and its charm. The nation behaves well if it treats the natural resources as assets, which it must turn over to the next generation with increased value. These are the words of President Theodore Roosevelt. He was very passionate about America's beauty and how to preserve and share the amazing animals and natural things that America holds. In this presentation, I'm going to share with you my hobby, taxidermy, and how I can take a beautiful animal specimen and turn it into something like this to preserve and present to everyone so everyone can enjoy nature. One of the first steps, obviously, is to collect a specimen. It is a natural specimen. I did take this as roadkill. I found it as it was dying, and I picked it up after it had fully died and saw that it was in great shape, in no tears, no holes, not many actual injuries. I took him home and I froze him until I was ready to do the work. I first start by cutting the squirrel open, and there is a fine line where there is between the body cavities and the skin. People have been using animal skins as clothes for thousands of years. And this is actually quite easy, especially on a small squirrel or like a smaller mammal. This is a raccoon mount that I've taken. You can find these raccoon mounts actually online, such as Mackenzie.com. And taxidermy is actually very popular up in the northern states or the southern states where hunting is very popular. They sell those molds. They're made of foam and wire. And you can buy any mammal or bird that you can think of. So once you have your skin, you take one of these mounts. You can see the mount underneath here. It's not perfect. This was actually my first one I've ever done. And after you get the skin, you're going to wash it with good old Dawn soap. It comes in a little package. They do sell kits on those websites that are very, very easy to use, and it actually comes with instructions as well. Dawn soap is the best. It cleans it, and it gets all the germs out that you'd possibly want to clean. After that, you're actually going to wash the skin, the pelt rather, and you can wash it with just Dawn soap, and then you're going to dry it fully. You're going to notice that the fur actually looks more like fur. And it's going to be a great tool to stretch out because it will be wet over the mount. Before you do that though, you're going to use some dry preserve. I've actually used a lot of this, and what it really is just salt. Salt is a natural preservative that people have been using for thousands and thousands of years. It works well, it keeps germs off, and it's very natural, so it doesn't hurt the skin. Another way to preserve it, and you also use, is borax. Borax or boric acid is a detergent that we've used for 100 years or so. It's very good for all kinds of things, and taxidermy is one of them. You can use it to not only preserve and keep it clean, but also to make it easier while you're skinning the animal. Once you have that done, you are going to start fitting the skin over the mount. You're going to have already measured, and you can tell that this one doesn't have arms. The arms are sold separately. so you can position them differently. Isn't that kind of cool? So you can do that by adding some clay that also comes in the kit. They give you plenty. This is plenty, and it just acts like a little paste or tape. You can also shape it under the eyes and the nose and anywhere that's really small to get into, and you want to tack the skin onto the mount and to get a perfect, real looking shape. Once that's done, you finish putting the skin over the mount, and it should be nice and snug. It will shrink as it dries. You want to have your cut somewhere where it's not truly visible, and most of the time that's going to be the back. You will sew with regular old thread and needle, sew it shut. Once that's done, you get actual pins, thumbtacks, or sewing needles work great too. And what you're going to do is you're going to pin each little section of the eyes and other orifices. The ears need to be placed because you can actually see that when these dried up, they kind of curved a little bit. And the pinning is to keep it in a position where you want to keep it. Another way you might have seen this is butterflies. If you've ever seen a tray of preserved butterflies, maybe you've seen pins in them. And that's what that is, so that the wings don't shrink up or fold in or anything like that. Once that's done, you kind of just let nature take its course. The skin will naturally shrink up, the pelt will naturally kind of harden. And this is pretty stiff actually. And that's what you want. It's pretty durable. The one thing I missed was this tail. There's actual wire in this tail. And you just stick the wire in. One side of is hooked into the mount. The other side is hooked straight up. And you can fold it and position it any way you want. And that's basically all you need to do taxidermy. It is quite a simple process that humans have been doing for almost thousands and thousands of years. Some of the oldest forms of taxidermy have been dated to 4 AD. I got into taxidermy because I love animals and I love science, and I found it absolutely fascinating, the things that I could do. Theodore Roosevelt was also very passionate. He taught himself how to do taxidermy. And he helped open up the Natural History Museum in New York City. And if you've ever been there, it is 4 stories of a gigantic museum with every single animal you can ever imagine taxidermied. It took a lot of work and a lot of passion to take each specimen and create something like this. Sure, there are some controversial issues with taxidermy. Taxidermy as a sport, that involves hunting. I cannot put an opinion on that. I know Theodore Roosevelt was a very big fan of game hunting. And I'm very glad that places like the Natural History Museum exist. Gorillas, zebras, and every exotic creature I can imagine was there. I do not personally condone hunting, but I do like that I can preserve and respect the life and the wonder of an animal. My friends get to enjoy it. My family gets to enjoy learning about these creatures and understanding what life truly is. So if you ever get a chance to check out a natural history museum or any sort of oddity store and you see some taxidermy, you will now understand the work and complexity that it takes to make something look wonderful, real life. And I hope that you enjoy the craft and the art that takes to do this. Thank you.